Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.
Welcome to episode 6 of Mahabharata with Anuja. Thank you so much for hanging around with me and getting your regular dose of the Mahabharata. Now, Dronacharya had finished the training of all his students, the Kauravas as well as the Pandava princes. He put up with all their squabbling, managed to instill discipline in them, and he had trained them to be great warriors. All of them were excellent since he was a phenomenal teacher. And he took the happy news to Bhishma and Dhritarashtra. He said, you all gave me a duty and I'm very happy to say I've discharged it to the best of my ability. All the boys are superbly trained, even if I do say so myself. I would like to have a tournament so that we can showcase the skills of the Kuru princes. Now Bhishma and Dhritarashtra were very happy to hear this, and they thought the tournament was a brilliant idea. Bhishma said preparations should begin immediately, and the blind king said, I wish I could have my eyesight back. I would love to see this magnificent spectacle. So a grand pavilion was erected. Many pavilions were erected actually to accommodate all of the royal family, the courtiers, the ministers, and all the people also thronged to this tournament to see what the Kuru princes had to offer. Now, the day of the tournament dawned bright and clear. All the ladies of the palace, everyone who was anybody from different kingdoms, they showed up to watch this, and it was packed. Now, Dronacharya, accompanied by Kripa, came forward and they declared the tournament open. There were a lot of amazing events. It was sort of like the Olympics. There was something for everybody to watch, and all the princes did very, very well, and the crowd was super charged up. And then one of the main attractions of the event was a bout between Duryodhana on one side and Bhima on the other. Both of them were exceptional at wielding the mace, and this was a friendly bout between the two of them actually. But given their rivalry, it soon became a blood feud, and both of them seemed determined to kill each other. The crowd got into it as usual. They picked favorites and they started cheering for their preferred prince, and they were screaming for blood. And these two princes seemed very happy to oblige. And Drona immediately called Ashwatthama. He said it's not nice to, for the two of them to show their dislike for each other in such a public arena. Please go and put an end to this. So Ashwatthama, because these two wouldn't just back off if you tell them to stop, no? So Ashwatthama had mighty arms and he pushed the two of them aside, and he said, this is my father's orders, he's your guru, please obey. And Duryodhana and Bhima walked away, but they were looking at each other like that as if to say, wait and see, one day in future we'll clash again and I'm gonna kill you. So the crowd kind of simmered down after that, and the other events were concluded, and Drona had saved the best for the last. It was to showcase the skills and talents of his star pupil, who was none other than Arjuna. Now Arjuna was an expert at any weapon he laid his hands on, and his skills with the bow were legendary. He had no equal, and his fame had already spread far and wide, and he was already a legend and he had a lot of fans. So when Drona announced that Arjuna would step forward next, the crowd went absolutely crazy. They were screaming, and Kunti was so pleased that there were so many people who loved her son almost as much as she did. Now Arjuna had swag, and he was sort of like Virat Kohli or something, but many times over. So he showed up at the center of the tournament, and he was quite the showman, and he showed off his regular skills, and he also used all the divine missiles which he had. So suddenly there were like explosions of fire, and there were showers of water. He rained on flowers, and all the girls just swooned when the flowers fell on them, and it was quite the spectacle. And he had this trick where there'll be thousands of Arjunas in every corner of this massive stadium, and people were all just so impressed. They were like, he's definitely Indra's son, and immediately the heavens were covered with clouds, just to show that Indra had also shown up to see his son. Arjuna had wound up, his grand finale was done, the crowd was on its feet and they were just screaming for him. And at that point, suddenly there was this silence, because everybody could hear the sound of mighty arms being clapped in challenge. And they all looked at to the entrance, and there was this resplendent young man, extremely handsome, and people were asking, who's this stranger who dares to challenge Arjuna? And nobody knew. Now this stranger stepped forth very boldly. He went right up to Arjuna and he said, Arjuna, you may think that you're the best, but I'm far better, and these are not just words, I can prove it. Whatever you've done so far, I will replicate it, and then I will perform feats that are far superior to anything you've done so far.
This was none other than Karna, the mortal son of Surya, the sun god. He had been born with celestial armor and earrings unique to his father, and as fate would have it, he had, for some strange reason, singled out Arjuna as his mortal enemy and challenged him.
And Drona was not at all happy that Arjuna's thunder seemed about to be stolen, and Arjuna also was glaring at this person. But Drona did give permission, and Karna did exactly what he said. He managed to repeat everything Arjuna had done, and he proved that he was brilliant. Now the Pandavas were very, very unhappy about this, and Bhima was glaring, and even Yudhishthira looked a little bit bugged about it. But Duryodhana's reaction was the polar opposite. Now he didn't really consider Bhima a threat, though he hated him the most among the Pandavas. He felt that he was far more skilled with the mace, and so he was not really someone he was scared of. But Arjuna, on the other hand, was the one he was secretly very worried about, because he was nothing short of a magician with the bow. And now that he'd met this brilliant archer who in his opinion was far superior to Arjuna, he just ran forward and he embraced Karna. He said, consider me your lifelong friend from this moment and be welcome. Now Karna wasn't used to such warmth and appreciation from royalty, so he was highly gratified. And Duryodhana, he went one up. He said, I will give you anything you want, feel free to ask me. And Karna said, all I seek is eternal friendship with you, and I would like single combat with Arjuna. Now Duryodhana immediately agreed, and Arjuna also made ready to fight with this stranger, and who declared himself as his rival. But Dronacharya conferred with Kripa, and Kripa stepped forward. He was well versed in the rules of combat. He said, just a minute, before anybody begins anything, you need to tell us who you are. We need to know a little bit more than your name. Tell us about your parents, tell us which kingdom you're from. Highborn princess, Arjuna is Pandu's son, Kunti's son. He belongs to the Kuru line. He does not, fight with commoners. It's not encouraged. He may choose to accept or decline your challenge depending on your background. Now at this point, Karna lowered his eyes in shame, and immediately Bhima started laughing. He said, this guy is a nobody, maybe he should just retreat in silence. And Duryodhana at this point, he said, so what if he doesn't have a kingdom? I will solve that problem immediately. And he crowned him as the king of Anga. On the spot, he got his father's permission. He sprinkled some drops of water on Karna's head, and it was all, the ceremonial stuff was done. And he lifted his own golden crown and he placed it on Karna's head, and he embraced him again. And Karna again, he felt like he was the luckiest person alive to have a friend like Duryodhana. So once more they made ready to fight each other, and at this point Kunti fainted, and only Vidura noticed, and he went to revive her. Now the reason for Kunti's strange behavior was that she had finally laid eyes on her long lost son. It had happened like this. As a young girl, very young girl, she would have served sage Durvasa, and she would have received the sun-bearing mantra, which was used to obtain sons for her husband Pandu. But she would have just left out one part when she told all this to Pandu. What had happened was, shortly after she had this mantra, on one day when she was feeling very lazy and reckless, she was looking out the window and she saw the sun shining, and she thought, okay, let me see if this mantra works. She was just a very young girl at this time. She used this mantra, and suddenly Surya stood in front of her, and he said, I have to give you a son. And Kunti said, have mercy on me. I'm an unwed woman. If I have a son now, people will say that I have no morals. I will be shamed. Please don't destroy my life. And Surya said, I am bound to give you a son. But don't worry, there'll be no evidence that you ever carried a son. And that's the best I can do. So Kunti asked for one more boon. She said, the son born to me, let him have your own celestial armor and the earrings of his father. That way I'll be able to identify him in future. And Surya had agreed, and she would have concealed her pregnancy, and after delivering this baby, it would have broken her heart to do so, but she left that baby in a basket and set it adrift on the river. And the charioteer Adiratha and his wife Radha would have found this beautiful baby, and Adiratha said, surely there's some great secret behind this baby's presence. It must be some highborn princesses or some god's child. We are very lucky to have this baby. And they lavished all their love and affection on this child. But Karna always felt that something was lacking, because he loved weapons, he loved that sort of thing. He knew he had that talent, it was in his blood. He was not really content to be a charioteer. And he would have gone to many ashrams begging those rishis to accept him as a pupil, but they would have all turned him down. They said, sorry, we don't really work with commoners. And finally Karna decided to practice deception. Though he was a very truthful person, he disguised himself as a poor Brahmin, and he went to Parashurama. Now Parashurama hated Kshatriyas, and he would have killed several generations of them in a very infamous manner. So Parashurama was very happy to accept him as a pupil, and soon Karna became his favorite because he was absolutely brilliant, and Parashurama shared his knowledge of many divine weapons with him. And now one day Parashurama was resting, and Karna, in a gesture of affection, he picked up his guru's head and placed it on his lap. Now they say that Indra took the form of a scorpion and bit into Karna's thigh. But Karna wouldn't flinch, he wouldn't move, though the pain was excruciating, because he did not want to disturb his guru. Now the sticky blood touched Parashurama, and he woke up at once, and he said, you've lied to me. He wasn't happy, unfortunately, that his pupil was so devoted. The contrary was true. He said, you've betrayed me, you've lied to me. Only a Kshatriya can bear pain like this. Parashurama said, you got what you wanted using falsehood, so you're going to pay for this. Karna tried to plead with him. He said, I'm a charioteer's son and I just really wanted to be your disciple. But Parashurama wouldn't be swayed. He said, everything I've taught you, you will forget it when you need it the most. And he dismissed Karna from his sight, and Karna was very upset. As he walked away, he hung his head, and he was really feeling horrible, but unfortunately there was worse in store for him. As he was walking along, he saw some movement in the bushes, and in a very reflexive action he released an arrow quick as thought, and he wound up killing a poor man's cow. Now this poor man came forward and he said, you've killed my innocent cow, a harmless thing. You're going to pay for this. You will also die when you're very vulnerable. Your chariot will get stuck in the mud, and at that moment you will lose your life. So Karna had been cursed twice in one day. He returned quietly to his house, and he continued practicing his archery, and it was only after he met Duryodhana that he was happy again. Now we'll return to the tournament, and Karna and Arjuna were all set for the duel of the century, and they say Indra came on Arjuna's side, and there were clouds gathered above him, and there were flashes of lightning and thunder, and on Karna's side they say Surya parted the clouds and he was bathed in the rays of the sun, the golden rays of the sun. Now as they stood like that, one old man limped into the arena. And he went, and as soon as Karna saw him, he went and very affectionately he touched this man's feet, and he stood up, and immediately this old man embraced him, and he said, I'm so proud of you, my son, you're a king now. Now when Bhima saw this, Bhima was usually not this mean, but because his brother was being upstaged, Bhima was super irritated on Arjuna's behalf, and he laughed. He said, you're a charioteer's son, you don't deserve to die at Arjuna's hands. Go pick up the reins of a chariot, or better yet, go clean up all the horse dung. That's what you're good for. And I don't think you deserve to rule Anga. Now Duryodhana Suddenly he became very sweet. He stepped forward. He said, Bhima, you have no right to talk like this. Nobody knows the origins of mysterious rivers. You can tell that this hero is someone very special. Look at his celestial armor, look at his earrings. There's some mystery behind his birth. And what about you, Bhima? What about the story of your birth? You think it's above censure, huh? What about, my father and stuff like that? Please don't talk like this about someone. Karna is not fit to rule just Anga. He can rule the entire world, in my opinion. And if anyone disagrees with me, I will crush his skull with my mace. And then he put his arm around Karna, took him to his personal chariot, and he rode away from there. And immediately the crowd started cheering. They said, so generous. Duryodhana, at times he's really nice. And it wasn't a very good day for the Pandavas. But they just retreated, and Arjuna was thinking to himself, wait, someday I'm going to give it to this guy properly. And Kunti was very sad that it had happened like this. Now, after the tournament, Dronacharya sent for all his pupils. He said, my duties have been discharged. It's time for you to pay my Guru Dakshina. And he told them that for his Guru Dakshina, he wanted them to capture his enemy, King Drupada, and bring him back in chains. Now, the Duryodhana and the Kauravas, they were feeling very enthused because Karna was on their side, and they charged into battle. Arjuna told his brothers, King Drupada and the Panchalas are mighty warriors and they are extremely experienced. You can't just charge into their kingdom and win a battle with him. Just as Arjuna had predicted, Drupada and his brothers inflicted a crushing defeat on the Kauravas, and they were all forced to retreat, including Karna. And then Arjuna rode into battle. He asked Yudhishthira to stay behind. Bhima was given the task of marching into battle ahead of him, and Bhima would just clear the way for him. Nakula and Sahadeva were given the task of protecting his chariot wheels, and Arjuna made short work of the Panchala forces. In embarrassingly short time, he managed to capture Drupada. He'd killed his charioteer, his horses, and he had him in chains. And then Drupada, despite his defeat, he was very, very impressed because Arjuna was also very fair. He told his brothers, don't hurt anybody else unnecessarily. Our job is only to capture King Drupada. And he was very respectful to this king also. And then Drupada was taken before Drona in chains, and this was Drona's moment. He said, very happy to see you. In fact, I want you to know I did all this for the sake of your friendship. And Drupada wouldn't reply. So Drona said, you only said friendship is possible only between equals, no? So now I have a kingdom and you don't. But I'm going to give you half the kingdom. Then both of us will be equal and we can be friends. He said like that, and he was sneering a little bit. And Drupada smiled to hide his hatred. He said, you're very kind and generous. It's a pleasure to be your friend. But in his heart, there was that need for vengeance. And as soon as he left, after he'd gotten his half of the kingdom, he refused to rule. He went in search of someone who'd help him take revenge against Drona. And finally, he found Yaja and Upajaya. They were two Brahmins who specialized in fulfilling yagas. Now this grand sacrifice was held, and these two brothers had done an amazing job. They said it's time for the offering to bear fruit, and they asked Drupada's wife to step forward. He said, you will have a mighty son who will defeat Dronacharya, and I'll give you a daughter also. And this Drupada's wife said, give me a minute, I just need to finish the cleansing rites. And Yaja and Upajaya said, we don't need your help, our offering will bear fruit without you. And they tossed it into the flames, and from the flames, a very, very handsome, resplendent young man, he stepped forward. He was fully armed, and there was a chariot present, along with his birth, and he stepped into the chariot, and he was riding around the flames, and a divine voice called out that he was to be called Drishtadhyumna. He would be the pride of the Panchalas, and he was born to slay Drona. Now, for a second time, the flames rose high, and the most beautiful woman in the three worlds stepped forward. She was dark and extremely gorgeous. Every inch of her was perfection. And again, the divine voices cried out. They said that she was a jewel among women, and she was to be called Draupadi, and she would bring about the destruction of an entire generation. So now these fireborn twins were like the pride of Panchala, and Drupada was very, very happy that he had what he needed to get his revenge. That concludes this episode. I hope you liked it. Do hit like and do the needful, people, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode as well. See you next time. It's going to be a very interesting episode. Thank you.
Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.